Let's start where it hurts. You think someone is stealing your energy, that there are people vampirizing you, draining you, leaving you empty. And every time you feel exhausted, you point outward. Your boss, your partner, your family, that toxic person who won't leave you alone. But here is the truth you don't want to hear. No one is stealing anything from you. You are handing it over. And the worst part is that you've been doing it for years without even realizing it. Alan Watts made it clear decades ago. There are no energy vampires, only people who don't know how to close the door. Every time you blame someone for your exhaustion, you give up your power. Every time you say, "They drain me," you're admitting that you have no control over yourself. And that, my friend, is not theft. It's abandonment. Abandonment of your own responsibility. Think about it carefully. How many times have you left a conversation feeling emptied out? How many times have you ended the day exhausted, blaming the world for your fatigue? Now ask yourself this: who decided to stay in that conversation? Who chose not to set boundaries? Who allowed that person to keep talking while you were burning out inside? Exactly. It was you. And here's the problem. We keep believing we are victims of circumstances, when in reality, we are accomplices in our own destruction. Energy is not stolen. It is given away. And you give it away every time you don't know how to say no, every time you prioritize someone else's comfort over your mental peace, every time you choose to please instead of protecting yourself. That's the trap. You were taught that being good means always being available, that being generous means giving until you're empty. A lie. True generosity begins with yourself, and if you don't take care of yourself, you have nothing to offer. But here's where it gets interesting. It's not just that you give your energy away. It's that you don't even know where it comes from. You think energy is something external, something that gets used up and recharged like a phone battery. Wrong. Energy is not something you have, it's something you are. And when you understand that, everything changes. Because if energy is you, no one can take it from you. Only you can block it. Only you can let it flow or stagnate. Alan Watts spoke about the illusion of the ego, about how we create this false identity that feels separate from the world. And from that separation, we begin to believe there is a you and a them, an inside and an outside, your energy and someone else's energy. But that division is fictional. Energy is one. It flows through everything, and you decide whether you block it or let it pass. When you feel drained, it's not because someone took something from you. It's because you closed the tap. Now here's the part no one tells you. The exhaustion you feel doesn't come from outside. It comes from resistance. Every time you resist what is happening, you lose energy. Every time you fight reality, you get exhausted. And that fight is internal, not external. The toxic person doesn't drain you, your resistance to that person does. The job doesn't exhaust you, your resistance to the job does. Do you see the pattern? The enemy is not outside, it's in your head. And this is brutal. Most people live in a constant state of resistance. They resist what they feel, what they think, what they live. And that resistance is an infinite energy sink. Lao Tzu said it centuries ago. Nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished. Water doesn't fight the rock, it flows around it. The wind doesn't battle the tree, it passes through it. But you, with all your intelligence, have forgotten that basic lesson. You insist on fighting everything, and then you wonder why you're exhausted. So what do? You stop resisting. But careful, this doesn't mean you give up. It means you stop fighting battles that don't exist. Stop fighting your emotions, observe them. Stop fighting circumstances, adapt. Stop resisting people, set boundaries, and move on. Energy returns when you stop blocking it with resistance. Here is the philosophical truth. You are not a container that gets filled and emptied. You are a channel. And a channel doesn't run out of water. It only gets blocked. Unblock yourself. Let go of the idea that someone can take something from you that is infinite. The energy is there. It always has been. But you clog it with your fears, with your need for control, with your ego screaming, "Me first," while drowning in its own anxiety. Do you know what's most ironic? You spend more energy protecting your energy than letting it flow. You build walls, raise barriers, shut yourself off from the world, and all of that exhausts you more than being open. Because living closed is living in constant tension, and tension is the enemy of energy. Relaxing is not weakness, it's intelligence. Tense muscles get tired, relaxed muscles can move all day. Apply that to your life. And now comes the part that will bother you. If you truly feel that someone drains you, it's because there is something in you that allows that draining. It's like a hole in a bucket. It's not the water that's failing, it's the bucket. And you are the bucket. So instead of blaming the world for your exhaustion, close the holes. Learn to say no. Learn to walk away. Learn to protect your peace without turning yourself into an impenetrable fortress. Because balance is not about closing yourself off, it's about knowing when to open and when to shut the door. Marcus Aurelius wrote it clearly. You have power over your mind, not over external events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Strength is not in avoiding difficult people, it's in not allowing them to affect you. And that, my friend, is an internal job, not an external one. You can change jobs, partners, cities, but if you don't change your relationship with yourself, the same pattern will repeat. Because the problem isn't them, it's you. Here's the trick that separates those who live exhausted from those who flow. The former believe energy depends on circumstances. The latter know it depends on their inner state. You can be in the most toxic place in the world and not lose energy if you know how to stay centered. You can be surrounded by demanding people and walk away intact if you understand that their urgency is not your emergency. But for that, you need something few have: clarity about who you are and what you allow. Most people don't even know what truly exhausts them. They say, "My job drains me," but in reality what drains them is the lack of purpose in what they do. They say, "This person consumes me," but what really consumes them is their inability to set boundaries. Energy doesn't leave because of what you do, it leaves because of how you do it. If you do something with resistance, you will be exhausted. If you do it with acceptance, you will flow. And here comes the deepest part. Alan Watts talked about the game of life, about how we take everything too seriously. We believe the role we are playing, and from there, everything becomes heavy. Work is heavy, relationships are heavy, life is heavy. But what if you stopped taking yourself so seriously? What if you understood that all of this is a game, that you can play without losing your essence? Lightness is energy. Heaviness is exhaustion. The problem is that we confuse seriousness with responsibility. You think that if you don't take everything seriously, you'll fail. A lie. You can be responsible without being heavy. You can fulfill your duties without consuming yourself. You can give without emptying yourself. But for that, you need to let go of the idea that everything depends on you, that if you don't do it, the world will collapse. It won't. The world will keep turning, with or without your suffering. So stop carrying what isn't yours. Now, the question you should ask yourself is this: how much of your energy are you spending on things that don't matter? On worries that never come true, on conversations that go nowhere, on relationships that exist only out of inertia? Energy is finite day to day, but infinite at its source. The problem is that you waste it on the trivial and then have none left for the essential. Learn to prioritize. Not everything deserves your attention, and certainly not your energy. Seneca made it clear, it is not that we have little time, but that we waste much of it. And the same applies to energy. It's not that you have little, it's that you give it away to what isn't worth it. Every time you spend your energy on something that doesn't add to you, you are stealing from yourself. So who is the thief here? Exactly, you. And here is the liberation. When you accept that no one can steal your energy, you reclaim your power. Because if no one can take it from you, they can't control it either. You are free. Free to decide where you place your attention. Free to choose who you share your time with. Free to close the door when necessary. That freedom is yours. It always has been. You just forgot. So stop looking for culprits. Stop pointing outward every time you feel empty. Look inward. Ask yourself what you are doing that exhausts you. Ask yourself what you are allowing that you shouldn't. Ask yourself whether you are truly living or just surviving. Because living is flowing, and flowing is infinite energy. Everything else is resistance, and resistance is the slow death of the soul. If you made it to the end, comment, "I protect myself energetically," and I will personally reply to you. And if this content resonated with you, subscribe to be part of it and leave a like if you enjoyed it.